Level 1. The Associate. Your scanner beeps every 14 seconds. That is the target rate. 412 units per hour, sorted, packed, or moved, depending on which station you were assigned today. The counter is running. It has been running since you clocked in. The fulfillment center is the size of 17 football fields. The lights are fluorescent, and they never turn off. There is no window. There is no natural light by design. Natural light creates distraction, and distraction creates time-off task. Time-off task. You learned this phrase in week 1. It is abbreviated TOT. The system tracks it automatically in the background of your scanner. Every second you are not performing a logged, productive action is counted. Walking to your station, counted. Waiting for a jam on the conveyor to clear, counted. Bathroom, counted. According to documented guidelines, workers receive a first written warning when they accumulate 30 to 59 minutes of time off task in a 12-month period. A final written warning comes after 90 to 119 minutes in a single day. Termination is recommended after 2 hours in one shift. No human manager signs these warnings. The system generates them automatically. You work a 10-hour shift. You stand the entire time. There is a rubber mat at your station, approximately 3 feet wide. You have been on your feet since 4 in the morning. Your knees began talking to you around hour 3. You did not stop. Stopping is time-off task. In the summer of 2011, Amazon's fulfillment center in Breinigsville, Pennsylvania, reached an internal temperature of 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Workers began to collapse. According to reporting by The Morning Call, and later confirmed by Time magazine and NBC News, Amazon's management did not open the loading bay doors. They feared theft. Instead, they arranged for paramedics to be stationed outside in ambulances, not called in an emergency, scheduled in advance. Workers came out on stretchers and in wheelchairs. An emergency room physician contacted federal regulators in June of that year, describing the facility as an unsafe environment after treating multiple workers for heat exhaustion. 8 months later, Amazon announced it would spend $52 million to retrofit its warehouses with air conditioning. According to a 2023 study by the University of Illinois Chicago and reported by Bloomberg, nearly 70% of Amazon warehouse workers in the United States said they had taken unpaid time off in the past month to recover from pain or exhaustion on the job. 34% had done so 3 or more times. Amazon's serious injury rate, according to reporting by The Nation in 2023, was 6.8 incidents per 100 workers. The warehouse industry average was 3.3. Your counter shows 409 for the hour. You have 3 minutes left. You scan faster. The counter does not care about your knees. The counter does not care about your name. The counter cares only that you scan. The package leaves your hands. It moves down the belt. You reach for the next one. Level 2. The driver. You are not employed by Amazon. This is important. The paperwork, and there is a great deal of paperwork, says you work for a delivery service partner, a DSP, a small business that contracts with Amazon to provide last-mile delivery. You are employed by the DSP. The DSP is managed by Amazon's standards. Your route is generated by Amazon's algorithm. Your truck is wrapped in Amazon's logo. The camera mounted behind your windshield is Amazon's technology. But technically, not Amazon. The camera is a Netrodyne device. It shoots 4 frames per second. The artificial intelligence watches your eye movement, your speed, your braking force, your seatbelt status, whether you look at your phone, whether you run a yellow light. At the end of your shift, the AI generates a score. The score is sent to your DSP manager before you get home. Drivers have named it the eye in the cab. Your route today is 183 packages, 10-hour shift. The math, if you stop to do it, does not work in your favor. You do not stop to do it. You pull up to a house. You scan the package. You carry it to the door. You photograph the door. You return to the van. You drive to the next address. The camera watches all of it. The algorithm adjusts your route in real time as traffic data updates. You do not choose your route. You execute it. Amazon's management software, according to internal documents reviewed by Vice, automatically generates performance warnings for drivers without the involvement of a human manager in the process. The system does not ask why your score dropped. It records that your score dropped. The DSP receives this report. The DSP decides what to do with it. You are not Amazon's employee. You are, however, subject to Amazon's system of measurement in every minute of your working day. The camera watched you park. The camera watched you walk. The camera watched you come back. It will watch you do this again tomorrow. The route will be slightly different. The camera will not change. Level 3, the area manager. You manage 35 people on the fulfillment center floor. You have a small office with a glass window facing the floor. You can see them from your desk. They can see you from theirs. You did not set their productivity targets. You do not have the authority to change their productivity targets. The targets are set by the system, calibrated against facility-wide performance data, adjusted in real time. Your job is to ensure the targets are met. When someone falls below rate, the system alerts you. When someone is below rate for 3 consecutive hours, the system expects you to intervene. The system does not tell you why they are below rate. The system tells you only that they are. There is a woman on your floor who has been below rate for 6 days. You know her name. You have spoken to her twice. The second time she told you her wrist has been bothering her. Repetitive motion. She is waiting to see a doctor. She has not filed an injury report because filing an injury report creates paperwork that creates delay. The system does not know her name. The system knows only that her rate is low and has been low for 6 days. You are measured in part by the percentage of your floor workers who hit rate. This is in your performance review. You are not told to fire her. You are told to manage performance. You know the difference. The difference is not large. Somewhere in a Seattle office, a software engineer is looking at productivity metrics for your facility. Your facility appears in her dashboard as a set of numbers. The woman with the wrist injury appears as one of those numbers. She has a small reduction in average rate for your shift. The software engineer does not know this either. You are the only person in this story who knows both of these things at the same time. You are also the person with the least power to change either of them. Tomorrow you will do your job. The counter will run. The rate will be what it is. The system will send you another alert. Level 4, the engineer. You have a badge. The badge gets you into the building, onto the elevator, to the floor where your team sits. The floor has exposed beams. There is no free lunch. There is a coffee machine. The coffee is not very good, but it is free, and frugality is one of the leadership principles. There are 16 leadership principles. You learned them during your hiring process. You cited them in your interview using the STAR format: situation, task, action, result. You were told this was how Amazon thinks. You were told you would begin to think this way too. By week 3, you notice that the motivational quotes on the bathroom walls are paraphrases of the leadership principles. Your starting compensation is approximately $135,000 in base salary, plus restricted stock units that vest on a schedule that is not in your favor until year 3. The vesting schedule is 5% in year 1, 15% in year 2, 40% in year 3, 40% in year 4. You were told this is standard. You later learned that this structure is one of the reasons Amazon's attrition rate in years 1 and 2 is significant. You are an associate software development engineer. You are assigned to a team. The team has a single-threaded owner, which means one person is responsible for everything the team does. This is not you yet. You are responsible for a component. The component is part of a service. The service is part of a system. You do not know what the system is called at the level above yours. You work on what you are given. The work is interesting. The pace is high. In your second month, your manager tells you about the bar raiser. The bar raiser is a certified senior employee who participates in every hiring interview at Amazon. Their job is to ensure that every new hire raises the average quality of the organization. The bar raiser can veto any hire. The hiring manager cannot override this decision. You were hired after a bar raiser approved you. You were still not sure exactly what they were looking for. You are beginning to understand, though. They were looking for someone who thinks the way the leadership principles say to think. You open your laptop. You have a meeting in 20 minutes. The agenda will require you to reference at least 2 leadership principles. You open the list. You have them mostly memorized now. You will have them completely memorized by the end of the year. This is not an assignment. This is how it happens. Level 5, the senior engineer. You own features now. They have names. They have users. When something breaks at 2 in the morning, your phone buzzes, and it is your problem to fix. This is called ownership, and ownership is leadership principle number 2. Your compensation is approximately $210,000 in total, including equity that is now vesting meaningfully. You have been at Amazon for 3 years. You are past the cliff. In 2015, the New York Times published an investigation into Amazon's corporate culture. Reporters spoke to more than 100 current and former employees. One former employee described the culture as purposeful Darwinism. The investigation documented people crying at their desks, people pulling 4 consecutive all-nighters, people being managed out while dealing with family illnesses, miscarriages, and health crises. Jeff Bezos wrote a memo to employees the same week. He said he did not recognize the Amazon described in the Times. He said anyone who is experiencing what was described should escalate it. He said he would strongly encourage it. He did not deny any specific claim. You read the article when it came out. You were not yet at Amazon. You thought about it when you were applying. You decided the benefits outweighed the risks. You decided, perhaps, that you would be different, that you would be the kind of person who made it work without the breaking. You are now 3 years in. You are not broken. You are also not entirely sure of the distinction. You have learned leadership principle 13, disagree and commit. The principle states that leaders are obligated to respectfully challenge decisions when they disagree, even when doing so is uncomfortable or exhausting. They do not compromise for the sake of social cohesion. Once a decision is determined, they commit wholly. Last quarter, your manager made a decision about the feature roadmap you did not agree with. You said so. Clearly, using data, as the principle requires. The decision was not changed. You committed. You shipped the feature. You did not mention the disagreement again. This is correct behavior. This is what the principal requires. You have done it 4 times this year. You will do it again. Level 6. The principal. You are a bar raiser. This is a designation earned through training, demonstrated judgment, and selection by senior leadership. You are now certified to participate in any hiring interview across Amazon and to override any hiring decision, regardless of the hiring manager's preference. This is not your job title. It is an additional role. It means that when a director 2 levels above you wants to make a hire and you sit in the debrief room and say the word no, that hire does not happen. The director cannot appeal the process. The bar raiser's judgment is, for this purpose, final. Your total compensation is approximately $350,000. Last Tuesday, a hiring team flew in a candidate from Austin. The director had met with her 3 times. The team had prepared an offer. In the debrief, you listened to all 5 interviewers. You reviewed the data. When you spoke, you said, "I'm a no. I don't think she raises the bar for this role." The room went quiet. The director looked at you. You repeated your assessment. You explained your reasoning. The reasoning was about leadership principle fit, not technical skill. The candidate was technically qualified. She was not, in your assessment, someone who demonstrated dive deep at the level this role required. The offer was not extended. You do not know what happened to the candidate. You do not think about it afterward for very long. The debrief is a mechanism. You are a mechanism within the mechanism. Your job is to ensure the people inside the system are the right kind of people for the system. You are also now responsible for decisions that affect people you have never met. Your team builds systems. The systems run inside fulfillment centers. You have not been inside a fulfillment center in 2 years. You have requested access twice and been told it was not necessary for your current roadmap. A feature you shipped last quarter improved scan efficiency by 3% across a regional network. You received a recognition note from your director. You did not know that improving scan efficiency meant the rate targets for Level 1 associates in that network were adjusted upward 2 weeks later. You would not have known how to find out. Level 7, the senior principal. Your name appears on slide decks that vice presidents read before walking into a room. This is a specific kind of power. It is not the power to decide. It is the power to shape what is decided. Your compensation is approximately $480,000. Jeff Bezos believed that communication within organizations is a sign of dysfunction. He said so at a company retreat, in a room full of people who were discussing how to get teams to communicate better. He stood up and said, "No, communication is terrible." His argument was that if teams need to communicate constantly, they are not organized correctly. They are too large. They are too dependent on each other. The solution was not better communication. The solution was smaller teams with cleaner ownership. This is the origin of the 2-pizza rule. No team should be larger than can be fed with 2 pizzas. 5 to 8 people. A single-threaded owner. No need to coordinate because you own everything and everyone in your lane. You lead an organization of 600 people. You have organized it into teams of 6 to 8. You have single-threaded owners for every major function. On paper, the communication inside your organization is clean. In practice, you spend 40 hours a week in rooms where people from different pizza teams are trying to align. You do not say this out loud. Frugality is a leadership principle, and saying so would mean admitting that your org structure has a coordination problem, which would mean implying that the 2-pizza rule is insufficient, which is a thing that is not said. You have not been to a fulfillment center in 4 years. You have approved 3 system upgrades that affect fulfillment center operations. You know this because the upgrades appeared in your OKRs. The OKRs were marked complete. You have built things you have never seen used by the people who use them. This is not unusual. This is the architecture of the company. The hierarchy is not designed for you to know what happens below your level in granular terms. It is designed for you to move your metrics. Your metrics are moving. The system is working. You have been told this is what success looks like. Level 8, the director. You run a product vertical. It has a P&L. It has a headcount budget. It has thousands of employees, some of whom you will meet, and many of whom you will not. Your total compensation last year was approximately $800,000. The number will be higher this year if the vertical performs. In the S-Team Visible meeting last month, a senior vice president read through your 48-page document in silence. There was no presentation. At Amazon, documents are read, not presented. The meeting began with 12 minutes of silence, as everyone in the room read. When the SVP looked up, his first question was, "What's your plan for the third quartile of performers in this org?" He was asking you to manage someone out. He did not say that. He asked about the third quartile. You gave him a plan. The plan was structured, data-supported, and referenced 2 leadership principles. He nodded and moved to the next question. Leadership Principle 13. Disagree and commit. 2 months ago, the S-Team directed a restructuring of your vertical that you disagreed with. You said so in the appropriate forum. You laid out your reasoning. The restructuring proceeded. You announced it to your organization as if you had designed it yourself. The principle requires this. Full commitment means not qualifying your endorsement. It means making the decision look like your own. 2,300 people in your organization heard you announce a restructuring you had argued against. None of them knew you had argued against it. The principle worked as designed. You approved an operational efficiency update for your distribution network last quarter. The update improved throughput by 4%. It appeared in your Q3 metrics as productivity improvement, 4.2%. In the 3 weeks after the update was deployed, according to data you could access but did not specifically review, the number of time-off task warnings generated across your network increased by 11%. Rate targets in 4 fulfillment centers were adjusted upward. 3 area managers escalated concerns about associate performance. The escalations were resolved through standard performance management processes. This is in a report somewhere. The report is not in your dashboard unless you ask for it. You did not ask. Level 9, the Vice President. The company moves when you move. You have also learned over time that you move when the company moves. Your base salary is $365,000. Your total compensation with equity is approximately $2 million. You have equity that vests over a schedule that gives you strong financial incentive to remain. Your office is in a building that is connected to the main campus by a pedestrian bridge. When you walk across the bridge in the morning, you see the city. You see other buildings. You do not see a fulfillment center. The nearest fulfillment center is 47 miles from your office. You have visited it once during your first year in this role. You have not found a reason to go back. You are in 4 S-Team meetings per month. You are not on the S-Team. You present to them. You answer their questions. You return to your office and execute their decisions. Disagree and commit. You know this principle in a way that has a weight to it now, a physical quality that it did not have at Level 5. At Level 5, you committed to a feature decision. Here, you commit to strategic decisions that move billions of dollars and affect hundreds of thousands of people. Last year, the S-Team made a decision about your business unit's expansion strategy that you disagreed with. You said so in the appropriate forum. You laid out your reasoning. You used data. You were specific. The decision was not changed. You announced the strategy to your organization as your own. This is what disagree and commit looks like at scale. It looks the same as it looked at level 5. The stakes are different. The mechanism is identical. You sometimes think about what it would feel like to simply make a decision, to disagree and not commit, to say, "We are not doing this, and I am the reason we are not doing this, and I am taking responsibility for that choice." You have enough equity not to need this job financially. You stay because the work is genuinely large. You stay because the system, despite everything, is impressively constructed. You stay because leaving would mean admitting something about the system that you are not ready to articulate. You sometimes think about the person who made the last thing you ordered. You ordered something last week. You do not remember what it was. It arrived in 2 days. Level 10. The machine has no ceiling. The machine has only more machine. Jeff Bezos began Amazon in 1994 in a garage in Bellevue, Washington. He set his salary as CEO at $81,400 per year. He kept it there. As of 2026 annual proxy filings reported by Fortune, that salary has not changed since 1998. Jeff Bezos is one of the wealthiest people in the history of the world. He earns $81,400 per year from Amazon. The warehouse associate who packed his last delivery earned $15 per hour. Neither of them chose the other's existence. The system arranged it. Andy Jassy, who became CEO in July 2021, earns a base salary of $365,000. His total compensation, through equity, is reported in the hundreds of millions. His job is to execute, at continental scale, a set of principles written by a man who is now executive chairman. At this level, you do not see people. You see markets. You see net promoter scores. You see revenue per customer. You see delivery promise fulfillment rates. You see injury rate trends as a compliance metric in a quarterly operations review. The number is in a table. The table has 17 other metrics. Amazon's "are right a lot" principle, leadership principle number 4, states that leaders have strong judgment and good instincts. They seek diverse perspectives and work to disconfirm their beliefs. At level 10, you are expected to have the best judgment in the organization. You are also furthest from the ground. The distance between your judgment and the reality it governs is, in physical terms, approximately 47 miles. In 2021, the machine that Jeff Bezos built required a change in who operated it. Bezos did not fight the change. He moved to a new role. The machine continued. It did not notice the transition in any operational sense. The machine runs on 5.9 billion packages per year. It runs on 1.5 million workers sorted into 12 levels. It runs on 16 principles and 1 promise. 2 days. The machine does not stop. The machine does not require anyone specific. The machine requires inputs and produces outputs and measures the ratio between them. You are the latest input to reach the top of the process. There will be others. The package arrives at your door in 2 days. You press the button. You wait. You don't think about the scanner that beeped every 14 seconds while it was being packed. You don't think about the camera in the van that watched every turn. You don't think about the area manager who knew the name of the woman with the wrist injury and could not change her rate. You don't think about the engineer who built the tracking system. You don't think about the director who announced a restructuring he had argued against. You don't think about the vice president who committed, fully and without reservation, to a strategy she was overruled on. None of them think about you either. The system does not require anyone to think about anyone else. It requires only that each level perform its function. The function performs. The package arrives. The cycle continues. The last thing you ordered from Amazon is already forgotten. The box is broken down. The item is somewhere in your house. It took 2 days. It always takes 2 days. You have no idea what that promise costs. Not in money, in people. In a hierarchy so complete, so perfectly layered, that the person at the top has never met the person at the bottom. And the system was designed that way, on purpose. 1 company, 12 levels, 1 package. This is your life at